Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Akakwadash. I'd like to proceed this lesson with giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shaitan's not letting me upload this video. I had already did a lesson, but anyways, he was saying, or it said copyright, but nonetheless, that just shows, that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, they mad, man. They don't want this truth to go out. But nonetheless, let me get into this, man. It says right here on Thursday, May 22nd, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. local time, Circle K is hosting Fuel Day at its location that sell fuel. This means that you will get 40 cents off for every gallon. Let me just make sure my camera, all right. And this is, this is going to, for people, for the ones that say, oh, America's not, it's not collapsing because look, we still have things that you can so-called say, or you can call cheap. We have cheap this, we have cheap that. That's a spirit. I'm right here by Dollar Tree, and hey, that's considered to be cheap, But, with these tariffs and stuff, most of these Dollar Trees, either way, most of the Dollar General, Family Dollars, all that, all that stuff is all made by, China. And we see what's going on with those tariffs, Let me see. This is now I just want to read what a tariff means. A tariff or import tax is a duty imposed by a national government, customs territory, or supranational union on imports of goods and is paid by the importer. Exceptionally, an export tax, may be levied on exports or of goods or raw materials and is paid by the exporter. What is a tariff in simple terms? It says a tariff is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods, usually to protect domestic industries from foreign competition or to raise revenue. So this is what China, China has imposed some tariffs on the United States, And I was watching this video, I wish I can upload it, but that's why I couldn't upload my last lesson because it was a TikTok video and it said copyright or something like that. But nonetheless, there's this employee, a Walmart employee, saying that they're upping the prices on domestic American-made products, which means products that are made in the United States. And look at what it says right here. A tariff is usually to protect domestic industries from foreign competition or to raise revenue. So they're not supposed to, raise prices here, or anything that's made here, but they are already, man. And we're gonna see that soon to come, man. Let me get a precept. I don't want to keep babbling about this. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 21, and it reads, "Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth." And here we go again with cheap. Let me just get the definition. Make sure people can if anybody wants it to be broken down more. But anyways, this means cheap in the dictionary. And it says, of an item for sale, low in price, worth more than its cost. Something that is cheap, something that's worth more than what's supposed to be, than what the cost is. Inexpensive, Let me read this from the top. 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 21. "Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." That's what we're seeing. This is, these things are gonna eventually lead to, the famine, the sword. People are gonna be greatly confused, man. As it says in in this precept, man. Let me see if that's not it. You know, but anyways, let me go back into this. You know, I'll probably bring this out after. You know, but we see, you know, Walmart responds to Trump's directive to eat the tariffs. You know, now let me see this. Walmart price increase. There we go. That's the spirit. It says, which big retailers have signaled price hikes due to tariffs? And it says right here, why Walmart decided to say it would raise prices and risk Trump's fury. You know, Trump berates companies for warning about tariff price increases. You know, so all these things are happening, man. You know, even though people think, oh, no, we're not. You know, it's, you know, everything's still cheap, man. You know, just like the gas, it keeps fluctuating up and down. Right now, from right here, it's 270 something from what I can see. Or I might be blind, but, you know, the other day it was already like at $2.99 for unleaded, you know, for the lowest regular gas. You know, let me get this preset to just back it up real quick. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, and it reads, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You know, and this is what's going to come, man, because people don't see, you know, the signs, man. They're not paying attention to the signs, you know. You know, for those that are not paying attention, you know, this is what's going to happen to you guys, man. Because you guys aren't, you know, taking heed, and you guys are just, you know, living in, you know, and that's the spirit. I already had that precept brought up, but it's talking, you know, anyways, most of these people aren't, you know, worried about the Lord. You know, they're worrying about getting married, you know, having parties, being in the house of mirth, you know, going to clubs, you know, upgrading their life here in hell, man. This was not the precept that I wanted to get. This is the book of, right here. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as a travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You know, I just had to go a little bit up on the verses, but, you know, that's the whole, you know, the whole point right there, man. These people are not, you know, they have no spiritual eye to see, man, or no ears to see, you know, roughly paraphrasing, but it says, let me read it again. The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. These people are gonna, you know, they're gonna be swept off of their feet, man. And this is why. It's the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 2 all the way through 4, and it reads, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. You know, and that's what we see. That's what we see, you know, going on nowadays. You know, let me. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 37, all the way to 39, and it reads, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also Salakia, getting a little too excited. Book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 37, and it reads, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. You know, hey, it's gonna come as a thief in the night for these people indulging in, fleshly pleasures, man. But with that, I hope that lesson, edifies the elect.